Bryan Houston here with Coach Kyle Westerberg of the Whitehouse Wildcats. Whitehouse falling to Mount Pleasant last Friday on the road by a score of 23-7. Coach Westerberg, first of all, thanks for coming on with us as always. I know I've been in situations like this before with coaches, and I know this is not a pleasant thing to have to do every week when things are not going well. So I appreciate even more when folks are willing to do it.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about the Mount Pleasant ball game. Just from your perspective, give me your thoughts on what you saw and what your team did the other night against Mount Pleasant.
From a positive standpoint, obviously the negative is you don't win. But from a positive standpoint, I thought there were guys that hadn't been playing their greatest, in my opinion, stepped up and played a lot better Friday night. But again, it's kind of the same old thing we've talked about week after week. We're just not playing total football together. We've had several situations in there where defensively we hold them to a field goal and they miss it, I think twice. But then we turn around and get the ball right back to them. We make some mistakes that are costly and expose us pretty quick. And so we just got to go back to, and I told the kids the other day, I think it was Friday, I said, whoever makes the fewest mistakes will win the ball game. I mean, that's just the name of the game. And so, I feel like we made more mistakes, and which cost us. But once we figure out how to put all three phases, offense, defensively, special teams together, I think we've got a good chance at least to compete for that win. And so, like I said, there were some positives in the deals, but obviously the negative is we just didn't come out with a win and didn't play our best, I don't think. And so credit to Mount Pleasant, they obviously, when you look at snaps per game, per team, they kept us off the field offensively and they drove the ball. They kept possession. And so we got to do a better job from an offensive standpoint, matching them, trying to match the possession and play as perfect as we can.
When you look at it, your defense plays pretty solid, but in all the games, it seems like this year, after Corsicana on, right, they wear down because they just are on the field for so long. And you look at the number of plays you guys had. I think you had 32 offensive plays the entire game,
right?
And usually that's a half at least.
Absolutely.
So, is your defensive line physically overmatched? Or is it a case of just wearing out by the time the game's over?
I think a lot of it has to do with just wearing out. We're always going to be kind of outmatched in some spots, just from some teams have some better looking kids than we do. But I'll tell you the one thing, I think I'll take our kids over anybody else is they play for 48 minutes.
They do.
And they're going to give you great effort. I just think it's more so, when you look through the course of the game from an offensive standpoint, you go 3 and out, or you turn the ball over right after a big, long drive. Mm-hmm. That defense was on the field for that long drive. And then they got to go right back out there and bow their necks and stop them again. It wears on them. And it'll wear on any team. And you look at all levels and stuff like that happens. Usually when there's not a response from the offense, or at least moving the football positively, down the field, and it's a quick 1, 2, 3, and they don't even have time to make adjustments. They don't have time to pretty much catch their breath and they're on the field. It just makes it hard for them. I guess you could spend all practice just conditioning them but there's a lot of other things that they got to be able to work on, obviously. And so we need to get better.
And again, this is not a criticism of the defense, because I mean, your defensive line, those kids make plays. Pitts comes up with a big play here. Allen makes a big play. I mean, you've got, and then your linebackers are probably as good as anybody's in the district.
I thought Ladarius Pitts played probably one of his best games, and was a big factor. And that's what we got to have out of him consistently, week in and week out. Obviously, Kentrell Allen does a good job and plays with a high motor. And then our two tackles, they're going to get the double teams, and so they're going to have to withstand the double teams, but they do that to allow our linebackers to make plays. And so I feel like they're doing their job. And then our linebackers were very active in being able to make plays, and that's what you kind of get. And I feel like they're playing hard, and they're doing what they're coached to do. It's just the other side of the ball we got to fix.
And I know you as an offensive coach, it's got to drive you crazy when you look at the numbers and you've got 49 yards passing and 61 yards rushing in the whole ball game. The number of plays, you had one explosive play the entire night to a receiver, a 29-yard catch. And that was pretty much it. And that seems like that's kind of been the story of the year.
It has. And we're explosive in the passing game. We're explosive with the receivers. So what everybody's going to do is take that away. And then it's going to force us to run the football. We got to get better at running the football. And that falls on me and us as offensive coaches. We've got to dial in the run game and get better at it and be able to run it and sustain some drives where, if we can average 3 to 4, probably 4 yards a carry, we're sitting in a good shape. And so that'll help keep our defense off the field.
How big of a momentum swing was it when you guys traded touchdowns in the second quarter and you tied the game, and then Mount Pleasant came back and they scored and it's 14-7. You get the ball back and you get the bad center quarterback exchange, goes back into the end zone. You fall on it for a safety. To me, that just seemed like it kind of took the wind out of the team. You tell me what it did from your perspective.
It does. I mean, and it's goes back to kind of what we talked about, being able to work out where we're playing together, and from an offensive and defensive standpoint, there would be go to previous, and there were 2 drives in there that, we go 3 and out and we get the ball, we punt it. Defensively, we stop them, they punt it. Offensively, we don't do what we're supposed to do, we punt it. It just, at some point in time in there offensively, we've got to say our defense got to stop. We got to go down and go score. But that's kind of been our MO is, they score, we score, tie it up, and then they go down and score again. And then something in there negative big happens. And it does take it takes the breath out of us. But, myself and, these coaches, we're just trying to rebound them and say, hey, we're good. I mean, still a lot of football to be played, and let's go answer and go respond. It's nobody's fault. The snap was low and maybe to the right or to the left. That's one bad snap out of 5 games that kid's had all year long. And so there's a lot of other things in the game that we can do a lot better, besides that, but that's pinpointed because of the situation of the circumstances right there.
Well, I was wondering what it did to you as far as, you seemed like it was going to be a, blow for blow trade scores kind of game there until that happened. And then you go into, an hour-long halftime, and
Yes.
I mean, you could have got a hotel room for your kids at that halftime. Yes. But how does that change your talking points at halftime? What you've got to do to try to keep your kids up, because now you're an 0-4 football team, and you just what you've talked about before. When something bad happens, at what point does it just break your back?
And I'll credit to the kids. they were really juiced up and going to get this thing. They're like, all right, let's go. Pre-game, they were ready to go. And then even halftime, they still had they had really good spirits, even though what had happened. And we didn't let them score right before half. And so, there was a big momentum shift right there. We knew they were going to get the ball and they had a couple of big plays in there, but we ended up shutting them down in their first, their opening drive, I think in the first half. So their spirits were up, they I just told them we had a lot of football to be played. And we've got this and they believed but again, I just think there's spots that we didn't perform at.
Right. So, and then in the second half, it just seems like nothing really got going and
No.
it was just a touchdown game, at that point for the whole second half. And so put that one in the coffin and then move on to Hallsville. I got to tell you, my eyebrow went way up when I saw that they actually played, they're an 0-4 team and they played the Texas High to a 37-24 loss. They wouldn't go away. Talking to the guy that does the Texas High games, and he said just Hallsville would not go away. So what have you seen from them and how do you think you guys match up with them?
They, I think if you look at, and a lot of people say don't look at records. Records don't mean a whole lot, but look at their scores. Every ball game, they've been a 7-point / 3-point, 1 point swing in every single one of these ball games. So they're playing hard. And again, they're going to be like us. They're going to play for 48 minutes. I mean, this is going to be nothing's easy at this time. And so we've got to come ready to play. They offensively, they spread the ball around and do a good job of getting the balls into their playmakers' hands. They've made a few changes from some personnel changes, and they do a good job of getting it where it needs to be. Defensively, they, kind of a bend don't break defense. They play hard, and so they're kind of like us, but they're just playing a little bit better offensively than what we are.
Yeah, they had 418 yards of total offense against again what appears to be the best team in the district in Texas High. So you got to take that seriously when you see it.
Right, and we don't know the circumstances of the game, and how Texas High played, and maybe people are looking at them a little bit differently, but or maybe they're looking at other people a little bit differently, but. Again, we got to go play our game. We got to go play hard, and we got to play as mistake-free as we possibly can. We can't. I call them stupid mistakes. We can't. We just can't make stupid mistakes, and they're all fixable. They're all coachable moments. But I tell them all the time, don't make the same mistake twice, and. That's not necessarily during a game. It's week after week after week. And it kind of seems like, all right, we fix one thing and then there's another mistake and another thing. Like I was saying, it just exposes us. It costs us big when we make some mistakes.
So what were your kids like coming back to practice on Monday?
They were good. I feel like, I tell them every day, I'm going to come to work on Monday. I'm going to come ready to go and get us where we need to be. I'm in this just as much as they are. We're in this thing together. And so I tell them every day, I'm coming to work. Who's getting on board? And so I would say for the most part, everybody was on board and ready to roll Monday. And we're going to get this thing fixed up. Obviously you'll see there'll be a few changes, but you'll see that come Friday. So,
well, it'll be good to be back at home, and it will be good to kind of wash that one away. And it looks like, again, two teams trying to get some momentum and get things going in the same boat. So both of you, looking at each other like this is our chance. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody. I mean, they're looking for their first win. We're looking for our first win, but it's just play the game, and we'll get this thing fixed up. And I just want to play better. If a team beats us, it's because they're just flat out better than us.
Gotcha.
And I feel like in the last 5 ball games, there hasn't been a team just flat out better than us. We beat ourselves.
Well, Coach, wish you the best of luck on Friday night against Hallsville, and it's time to get that first one. And you still got the second half of the season there, so still a lot of football to be played, and still a playoff position out there available.
Yep.
If you can get this thing going.
Got to get it going, and it starts Friday night.
Sounds great. Coach Kyle Westerberg, thank you very much for your time. Good luck Friday night.
Thank you.
All right, we're getting ready for the kickoff between Whitehouse and Hallsville. Back in a moment.